This is Black Woman CEO. Welcome to the only podcast dedicated to giving you the raw and real experiences of successful Black women entrepreneurs. Yes, girl, we're talking about the behind the scenes strategies of what it takes to increase in your profit, power, and purpose. I am your host, Quanisha Green, and I invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy today's show. Alrighty, this is Quanisha Green, the founder of Black Women CEO, and Facebook says we're live, so I'm just going to believe them on here. And I'm so excited to come back to you with our next Black Women CEO expert guest, Tiffany Blassingame. Hello.
Hi.
Hey, Tiffany.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here and answering my call during this time of crisis. So we can talk to Black women, really even just the larger community, on how to maintain their calm and confidence during a crisis. So today, Tiffany is going to talk about how to move from panic to productivity. She's going to formally introduce herself, because you always know I let people, tell them who you be and then their expert statements. But quickly, I want to just share that we're doing this virtual summit, maintaining your calm and confidence during crisis, because at this current time of the recording, we are experiencing worldwide a pandemic, the coronavirus. And even in general, times of crisis are particularly hard hitting for entrepreneurs and small business owners. And we are actually finding this, whether you're working your business full-time or you're working your business part-time, you are managing a lot of different things right now, right? Some of you are working from home. Some of you have your kids at home. Some of you may have a loved one or a senior that you're worried about as we are navigating really this event that we've never experienced probably in our lifetime. And so I wanted to bring some folks who are my mentors, my fellow CEO sisters, some folks are my awesome clients, to really share their expertise so that you can get support in a holistic way around how to effectively navigate this unexpected worldwide event. So I'm so happy to have Tiffany here to share her expertise around how you can move from panic to productivity. So how are you today, Tiffany?
I'm doing well. And I was very excited about your last expert. Is it Trina?
Yes,
Yeah.
Trina Farhan.
Trina. Because I really needed some of those nuggets about setting boundaries. So I may be like implementing that in my plan that I'm giving to you guys.
It was such a good session. So whether you're watching this live, and we'll probably put a link where you can watch all the live videos, but this is also going to be repurposed as a podcast episode. So we'll definitely make sure everyone's resources are there and that you can click and go. But yes, Tiffany was referring to Trina Parhan's when she talked about 3 ways to establish healthy boundaries during crisis. And just quickly, and Tiffany, I don't know if you want to get set up while I'm doing this part. I want to emphasize on the fact that we want to help another sister rise. So how the algorithm works here at Facebook is that the more you interact with the video, the further it goes. So on our Facebook page, we have a little over 14,000 followers, and our Black Women CEO Facebook group, we have over 5,200 followers of this date. And of course, this is also being shared in an event where we have multiple people who chose to get notices that they're going or they're interested. So the more you interact, the further it goes. And here are some ways you can interact. Even if you're on the podcast, you can come back and watch the replay, because in the description, you have the link to the actual video. Sharing your insights, right? Sharing what's resonating with you, clicking those hearts when you're like, yeah, girl, you talking to me, right? Or any of those reactions will really help, once again, the video to go further and wider. And what I'd like you to do right now, if you are new to our community, put 1 in the chat. If you've been around the block with us for a while, put CEO sister, just so that we can know who you are. And if you want to take it a step further, let us know about your business and where you're from. And definitely, if you have questions along the way, post them. And then we will have a short Q&A at the end. And Tiffany can also come into the chat and share her expertise with you as we go along. So I'm going to hand it over to Tiffany. I'm going to mute myself and close my video so that she can share how to move from panic to productivity. So it's all yours, Tiffany.
Thank you. So like Quanisha said, I'll be talking about how to move from panic to productivity, and just a little bit about me. I am a professional organizer. My specialty is in productivity. So I help women and their families go from chaos to calm by developing an organized approach to home, work, and school. And so that really looks like looking at your family, looking at your needs, and figuring out what's going to work so that you are as productive as possible, and you and your family can maximize that productivity. A little more about me. I am a divorced mom of a teenage son. So I don't know how much that tells you, but for us at home, it looks like making sure that I'm co-parenting well. It makes making sure that all of my son's needs are met, and then making sure that I am giving to myself first, as Trina talked about, so that then I can be a better mom and parent to my son. I am also a trained educator. I'm also a principal. And so I am going through what a lot of women are going through right now, where you may be suddenly working from home and trying to manage and lead from home, or you're already working from home and then your kids are also home, or there are people who need you and you're trying to figure out, how do I make my life and this new normal for me right now, and also either be a caregiver to a parent or to a neighbor. And so many people need you. Trina also talked a little bit about that. And I want to really get into how you can be productive and get away from that panic that we are all kind of feeling right now because of the uncertainty of what's happening in our world. So this is for you if you are struggling with not getting things done because you are overwhelmed with the what ifs of the current outbreak. Like I said, there's no certainty. Things seem like they change every minute. You've got information coming from this way, information coming from there. You've got incorrect information probably coming from just word of mouth, or your family is suddenly working from home, as I just described for our home, and you're trying to adjust to changes at work or at home. So even if you're not working from home, if you're still going into your business, that you may have some changes there, and then how to really figure out what this new normal is going to be for us for a little while. And anybody that just wants to feel more in control of your time. So if that's you, you'll definitely get a lot out of this little live webinar today. So one thing I wanted to share, which is something that I remind myself of daily, it's even posted in my bathroom, is it's not the load that breaks you down, it's the way you carry it. And I really talk with my clients about managing your time and managing your energy, because those are two separate things. All right. So time is fixed. We all get the same 24 hours a day. That's not going to change. But your energy is a renewable resource. And so if we begin to focus on managing our energy and looking at our schedule as energy units and not necessarily time units, then we'll be careful about how we prioritize and what we tend to put our energy toward. All right. So as we're kind of working through, you should begin to think about, how am I spending my energy now? And how should I be spending my energy so that it is consistent with my goals and what I value? So if you're spending a lot of time on social media, looking at all the different articles, the news, the TV. And this is, you may not have had the TV on while you've been working before. And now all of a sudden you just got to know what's happening next. You used to have boundaries around your tech and, not going on Facebook to look at everything. But now you've just got to know what's happening. You're placing your energy in a place that could be where your panic is actually coming from. And so thinking about that and trying to learn to operate in a state of optimistic realism, right? So go ahead and name what that panic is. That could be frustration. That could be you're so used to being in control of everything and now things are all over the place. It could be that your kids, you knew where they were from 8 to 2 and they were fine doing their thing on their own. And now you've got to kind of create your own schedule, figure out what they're going to do, work your business around when they're taking naps or when they're up or when they want to go outside, all of those things. And then do you let them go outside or not? Go ahead and name what that is and address that. And then identify the loss that you're feeling. Because a lot of times we think, oh, well, like this is happening, I'm just going to get it together and move on. But you lost something. You might have lost the time that you used to have on your own to work from home while your kids were in school, or while your spouse was working outside of the home and now they're home. You may have had time to yourself during the week, and now you have to go and check on someone else or make a call to someone else, or you may have an elderly parent that's in the nursing home and you're unable to see them the way you used to. Those are losses, and it's okay to go ahead and identify those losses. But then you've got to also turn that around and consider your gains. For me, while I've had to learn how to work from home as well as work my business and make sure that my child is going ahead and being on his schoolwork and being in his live classes when he's supposed to and doing his assignments and placing some of that independence on him, but also trying to follow up on that. I've also gained time with him during the day that I did not necessarily have. I've gained back an hour one-way commute through this Atlanta traffic. And so I've gained some time for fixing dinner and meal prepping the way that I talk to my clients about. I'm actually able to do a lot more of that and to put that in place for our home. So thinking about what you've gained from it and shifting your mindset from I have to do this now and focusing on your losses and more of, but this is what I get to do moving forward for this time. So I want to give you some time to just kind of think through that, operating from a state of optimistic realism, and that is optimism rooted in truth and reality. Name it, recognize what you've lost, identify that, but then consider your gains, acknowledging that reality and making a plan to move forward that accounts for the reality that you're in now. So how do we do that is where we're going to go next. And this is what I call my 3 Ps for productivity. And they're easy to remember. They are pause, plan, and then prioritize. This is my number one strategy for getting my clients to first think about where it is they want to go when they're feeling overwhelmed. And I'm sharing that with you today. So the key is going to be to take time to think things through, decide what really matters, and then chart a course that makes sense for you and your family, even if it doesn't look like someone else's norms or the norms around you. So the first P is to pause, remembering that you can do anything, but you can't do everything, right? We as women, we recognize that we can do anything, and then we try to do everything, especially Black women. So we can do anything, but we can't do everything, and we definitely can't do everything at one time. So ways that you can pause is to, in the moment when you're feeling the panic, go ahead and breathe deeply. Take time to step away. The world isn't going to end if you stop for 10 seconds and breathe. All right. So breathing deeply is a great in the moment exercise. One thing that I practice as a daily pause is to go for a walk. And since I've been home during the day, I've been going for a walk in the middle of the day. But if you're also working outside of the home, and when I was outside of the home, that would be the first thing I did after I got home, was I would go for a walk. And that was really to separate myself from what's actually happening right now and in the moment, so that I can transition into what I needed to do and who I needed to be for myself and for my family after work. So going for a walk is a great daily pause, and getting sleep, a sleep reset. A lot of times we're so busy worried about these things, we're staying up, we can't get things out of our brain. We want to read that article one more time, and I got to go back through Facebook and find it, and where was it, and who posted it. Go ahead and set some type of alarm for in the morning. Go ahead and set like your bedtime feature, if you have that on your phone, where it'll remind you that it's time to go to bed. Just like you put your kids to sleep, or just like you make sure that others are resting throughout the day or at night, that you do that for yourself. And within the week, making sure that you create white space. That everything on your calendar doesn't have to be full of things that you need to do. One thing that another professional organizer, a tip that she gave me, was that she and her family create closed weekends where absolutely nothing happens on those weekends. If there's a birthday party that comes up, if there's a game that comes up, they just don't do it. That it's a closed weekend. So they get their schedule together, and then they determine what's going to be the closed weekend, and that's their white space, where as a family they have time to go and do the things that they want to do. Now, we aren't really going outside of the house right now, but you can still have closed weekends where you're planning game time. You can have a closed part of your day daily where you are playing games or watching a movie, really taking advantage of the time that you have together, either as a family or even alone, to take care of yourself and your own needs. The second P is to plan, and that is recognizing that you are the master of your own schedule. Right? So there are a lot of things that are out of control right now, but one thing that you are in control is of you're in control of your own energy and managing your own time. So that's your schedule. Going ahead and creating a routine. So if things are kind of out of place right now, pause and set a routine for yourself, and then set a routine for your family. All right, that could be making a schedule. That could be looking at your child's classes and assignments and how much time they need to be working on that, and going. They're used to a routine at school. Go ahead and put them on a routine at home, and make that work for you. Make breaks within there for you. Like I said, my pause is to go for a walk, and I make sure that when I'm going for a walk, it's at the same time that my son has a break, and we can actually go for a walk together. Something that we haven't had a chance to do in the past. So we're going ahead and you looking at that as a gain. Decluttering is so important. And when I say decluttering, a lot of people think just decluttering like physically, but recognizing that you definitely want to declutter spaces physically, but you keep things in your brain that you need to declutter. You need to brain dump, get things out of your head at night or in the middle of the day. You're trying to hang on to so much. Use the technology around you for setting reminders on your phone, or going ahead and putting that calendar invite on your calendar, so you don't have to keep reminding yourself of when you needed to do something. Go ahead and putting those things on there. So decluttering either emotionally, physically, and mentally. I mentioned meal prep before, and I put it on here because a lot of times when people think about meal prep, they think about, oh, I got to cook all this stuff on the weekend and have everything together. And that's great. Like, some people can do that. That is great. I have a lot of clients who are able to implement that. For me, meal prep looks a little bit differently. For us, I cook a certain number of meals throughout the week, but I cook them at night. So I'll cook the meal at night, and then in the next day, the meal is ready. And so I may do that once or twice a week where I'm cooking at night. I plan that out. I know what nights look better than others for me to cook the meal. You can take advantage of grocery pickup. That's meal prep. That's planning ahead of time so that you can have meals. If you do the online ordering for your groceries, if you have the groceries delivered to your door, go ahead and like set a day or a time where you want to get that done. For me, it's on Sundays. I go ahead and order it, and I schedule when I want to go and pick up our meals. Since we're not going into stores, this has been a great strategy for me. And the last P is to prioritize. The quote here from Stephen Covey that the key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. So when you're thinking about how you're going to manage your energy, and if you say that self-care and giving to yourself is so important and setting boundaries is so important, then that needs to be the first thing you do. All right. If you say that you want to make sure that you have time to meditate or to stretch or whatever it is you need to do in the morning, then schedule that in the morning and don't schedule anything else until you have that time to do that. And, if something comes up and you have to tell someone no, treat that appointment as if it was an appointment that you would give to someone else. And if that's your time for having a quiet cup of coffee before the kids get up, if that's your time to make sure that you are exercising or whatever it is that you give to yourself first, you put that on your calendar first. And it doesn't have to be the first thing in the morning, but that you put that on your schedule first, and then you work things around that. So you want to choose the meaningful over the urgent, all right? And what's meaningful is what's significant, it's what's important, it's what's relevant. A lot of things seem urgent. I just have to read that article. I just have to answer that text. Actually, you don't. So choose what's meaningful. What did you plan to do? What do you say that you value? Those are the things that you want to choose to do first. And then everything else will happen. You can put that on a to-do list. You can eliminate that altogether. You might find that you don't even really need to do that. And so making sure that you're choosing the meaningful over the urgent is really just that simple. It's as simple as saying to yourself, this is what's important. This is what's meaningful. This is what's going to make a difference. This is what I scheduled as a priority. This is what I'm going to do. And then everything else will come. So I'd love to connect with you. If any of these ideas resonated with you, I am offering a just for you 30-minute chaos to calm strategy call. So the link will be available. Quanisha will put that in the comments and maybe later. But I want to help you create that organized approach to homework and school. And this is a complimentary strategy call for you. You can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram at TWBlast, or send me an email.
Yes, I just dropped the links into the chat in the event as well as the main video. And I would love you all to give an applause. Thank you so much. This was great. And let me just make sure they can see the both of us. Okay, I think you can see the both of us. This was great. I love the really practical tips that we could actually incorporate like today. Right. And it's funny, I've been afraid to go outside, but I love that you can go breathe. I was like, can I open the window? Can I? But actually my husband, while we were here, he just took the kids outside. So I need to venture out because I was like, I don't know about that. But I love the real practical tips that you talked about. And those 3 Ps, right, are so easy to remember. So just quickly, let me see. Kenty said, I have been working on my energy, but it's really challenging. And of course, if you have any reactions to any comments or questions as we go along, Tiffany, please feel free to, respond. And then Cassandra, here's a little bit of a long one. Cassandra says, my optimistic realism is being concerned if my spouse will have to be at home in the event that hospitality industry changes. I like having time to myself all day, and I like my office quiet without distraction. When he is home, though, I love him dearly. My energy is shared too much. So I don't know if you can speak to this idea. Like, I actually had this today where I couldn't focus because the kids were so loud. And I'm like, I am not used to y'all being here today. So I don't know if you have any things on like when someone else, it's like the energy is in your space. I don't know if you just feel like the tips that you already talked about would help with that, Tiffany, or if you have any thoughts.
I definitely think that that's a really good question, and I definitely think that it's important to, if you're thinking about it now, going ahead and talking about it and setting the boundaries and creating a schedule together where you would have some time together, and then some time where he would know that you are working and that you need your own space at that time.
All right. Awesome. And just to wrap up, because I know Aisha's kind of like in the green room. Cassandra says, I have closed weekends also. I block it off, tell the spouse and kiddos, and they know that aside from our religious meeting, don't even ask me to be out. That really spoke to me, a closed weekend. And I think that was the last comment here. And you already shared how people can keep in touch with you and everyone. I posted, Cassandra said, great advice. And I will post this again. Go ahead and book that Chaos to Calm strategy session with Tiffany. Like, really get some support in this if you feel like you need to go right from panic to productivity. And I love also that you said name it, right? You have to name it to claim it and then to heal it from there. So these are really great practical tips. Tiffany, any last thoughts or anything that you want to say to everyone around this idea of maintaining your calm and confidence during crisis?
Really, speaking about Black women and speaking to Black women, just recognizing that we are living the lives that our ancestors dreamed of, and to not maximize the productivity that we have would be a dishonor to that. And I definitely feel that way. So deciding what's worthy of your time and knowing that you don't have to go at it alone. This is a great group, and we're here to help.
I muted myself. So thank you so much, Tiffany. And everyone in the chat, whether you're watching this live or the replay, go ahead and give us some love, right? Let us know what resonated with you. And most importantly, let us know what action step you are going to take like today or tomorrow, right? Because all this is not just a lecture and be like, oh, this is nice. We actually want you to take action on the tips and strategies so that once again, you can navigate this hard time or any time, right? In good or bad, where, like as Tiffany said, these are things that she regularly do, right? That she's kind of like amping them up in order to stay sane, calm, and confident. So thank you so much, Tiffany, and everyone stay tuned. We have actually Aisha Moore on deck, and we'll be right back. Oh girl, the episode stopped, but the party is not over. I want you to go ahead and subscribe, like, and rate this show. Leave us a comment sharing your takeaways. And when you're done with that, come on over to blackwomenceo.com, join our movement. And when you do that, you'll get the special invitation to join us in our community. Well, I will love to put a face to that name, girl. So this is Quanisha signing off, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Peace and love.